On to the Flash one, which is my most anticipated one. And here's they showed a scissor reel, and this is what was in it. Barry goes back in time and to his childhood home. We saw that in the trailer. Barry watching a recording of himself. So this could be just a different Barry, or it could be him watching a recording of him in the past. We don't know, but I'm willing to bet that it's just him watching the Barry of another universe, which is in the movie. And apparently, there are going to be 7 bat suits for Michael Keaton, and that's interesting. Affleck,
They say there, it's like, do you think? I think it'd be pretty cool if in that scene, like obviously he opens up some sort of room and there's 7 suits. So you're
yeah,
gonna have the A9 one, you're gonna have the 92 one, you're gonna have maybe his brand new one, or maybe he gets that later in the movie. But I think it would be a nice nod to Joel Schumacher and Kilmer and Clooney if those suits were there, maybe as
yep,
well, just for
yeah,
a second. Decide
yeah. I
that.
think I think that's the idea. I think he'll have those versions, and he'll probably have a couple of comic book, versions. Maybe a Dark Knight Returns version, but I don't know if they do Dark Knight Returns, but something like that. I feel Kingdom Come, maybe, you know. So yeah. Affleck's Batman on the Bat Cycle. We saw this in the set photos that Batfleck is having a chase sequence at the beginning of the movie. He's after a truck full of robbers or whoever it was. He's chasing them, and apparently, that's a full-on action sequence with Batfleck, and I'm really excited to see that.
More.
Also, people who saw this footage didn't realize that that was Batfleck.
Yeah,
That's weird to me because he has the Ben Affleck costume, but maybe there's no close-ups of his face. Maybe they just showed it from behind.
yeah. 'Cause I see people were questioning. They thought it was Michael Keaton or a different
Yeah,
Batman altogether, because the Bat Cycle maybe is like related to Christian Bale for a lot of people. From when he
right,
had that.
right,
Yeah, they're probably thinking the shot could have been very kind of like not a close up, could have been from a distance or something like that, and they're thinking,
right.
oh my god, is Christian Bale in this movie? Because he did use that a lot, the tumbler, that was called, or something like that.
That's actually pretty smart if you think about it. If they put that in the trailer, because they're not confirming that it's Bale, but they're making people think that it's Bale.
Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, yeah, I'm sure like when we get to see it, we'll probably think like, wait, that's Ben Affleck. How did anyone think any
Yeah,
different? So, but yeah, I am a little bit sad it didn't have like maybe a Ben Affleck close up or like a money shot for Ben Affleck.
yeah,
But I'm sure they will closer to the movie than they obviously.
yeah, for sure. And then we have Michael Shannon's Zod in that footage, which is kind of interesting to me because this was this was not a this was not announced in a way when the Flash movie was being made. This was announced way later, like recently, like last year, and to show him in the footage is kind of interesting to me. So apparently he's gonna be the main villain in the movie. So if that's the case, then they have to show him, right? Plus, it's also exciting to see him back because people who love Man of Steel and all that are excited to see him back.
It wasn't even like an announcement, was it, from like Deadline or any of the
No,
big trades? Well, I think what it could have been a mistake because like it had like their upcoming movies and they put the cast out and it had like Michael
yeah,
Shannon. So I think that may have been a mistake, and now they have to just kind of just go with it now. But I think it could work in the movie's value because if they do have him as a paper villain in terms of the marketing, they make him the villain and the posters and stuff like that. You have him there. The twist in the movie, I'm not going to say what it is. It's out there if you want to. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it works, but there's the twist in the movie might be more beneficial if they have General Zod as the big villain and all the marketing. You know what I mean?
mhm,
But yeah, it's cool to see Michael Shannon back as General Zod. I rewatched Man of Steel recently, and he was just so good. Um, but like it's obviously a different timeline version. It's not the exact same one from Man of Steel, so it's different. It's probably Supergirl's timeline version. We don't like we don't agree with the decision that Henry Cavill is excluded from this movie or his version is dead or whatever they're going to do with it. I don't agree with
Yeah.
any of that at all. I also have second. I also have like I'm not too sure about having Man of Steel the template in this movie because Zack Snyder is such a visionary, such a unique style. Can Annie Muschietti replicate some of the fight sequences from Man of Steel? Because if he can't, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
It's not going to look good. And yes, you could say, well, Annie Muschietti is bringing that character
But
in to use it in his style, but that's okay. If this was a sequel and you're bringing in Michael Shannon, and of course, Annie Muschietti could do his own style with it, like Andy Serkis did with Venom 2, or like when another like Sam Raimi is doing with Doctor Strange.
yeah.
But that's not the point. The point is that this is a multiverse movie where they're actually recreating the events of Man of Steel in a different way, of course, different outcomes.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to look, yeah, you know what I mean?
But
It's
the thing with this one is that the same people who worked on the
true.
VFX of those things are working on this one. So I don't think that Muschietti, if he's including all this, I don't think he would go out of his way to change the way that looks. I think he will just try to keep it as consistent to that as possible.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Zach's VFX team are worked on the Snyder Cut, and have worked on a lot of his movies. Are working on this. So yeah, that is a good point actually. But it's a
Mhm.
bit of a ballsy move from Machete to
Yeah,
try and,
it is.
especially with the fan base, especially with the perception of the DC
Yep.
universe, to kind of go back and go through the events of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Now, look, we're intrigued by the Flash movie. I can't say whether I agree with that decision or not until I see the movie. You know,
Yeah.
so
A
like,
lot of people are saying a lot of things. I know that, a lot of people are upset by this. So I'm not. I'm actually excited to see because I'm someone who actually wants the DCU and Snyderverse to be separate so that there's no more battles of what to do and what not to do. Both can individually do anything they want. Like why is this still not the case in 2022? I don't understand. Like this should have been done since 2017. Like both can coexist. I don't know why it's so impossible. But if they are going to separate, that's actually pretty helpful for both directions. I feel like so the Supergirl thing. That's the next description here. Supergirl is shown finally. you know, except that one shot in the background. So the thing with Supergirl is that if Supergirl is to exist in the DCU, I feel like one way to do it is just you know having her being on a separate planet. That's probably what's gonna happen in the Snyderverse, but I don't know how she was gonna be brought back. We still don't know. But one version of doing it was an alternate universe where Clark Kent never made it to Earth, but instead, you know, the Supergirl made it to Earth. So I think that's the way they're going with it. So in order for that to happen, Zod has to kill the kill the baby when Jor-El is sending the pod. So he has to destroy the ship, which he was unsuccessful in doing in Man of Steel. He was stopped, and the pod left. So maybe that's the point where he'll succeed in this one, and the pod gets destroyed. Clark dies. Supergirl gets to leave. Right. So yeah, Feora is also in this movie, but there's no description of her being in the trailer. But she is in the movie, and I'm really, really happy to see Feora and Zod coming back because they were awesome in Man of Steel. I love that movie, and having Supergirl here is also cool because having Supergirl does not actually eliminate the chances of Superman being present because she's from a different timeline. But our timeline, Superman is still around. The only thing that's preventing him to be in this movie is contracts. So I hope Zaslav signs the new contract and just gets him another movie or whatever he wants, and he can then add a cameo of Henry Cavill Superman in this movie. There's still 1 year left. Still a lot can change. And it feels like Zaslav's focus is Superman. He mentioned him a lot of times. So maybe that's on the table. Henry Cavill was still championing Man of Steel 2 just a few months ago. Obviously, he was probably also waiting for the new management to take over so that the negotiations could start again. Maybe they already have a deal together. I don't know, but I just hope that they bring back Henry Cavill Superman because I think he's absolutely central and key to the DCU.
Like even if they do kill Baby Clark in the Flash movie, doesn't mean Henry Cavill is killed off in the DCU.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a different timeline.
We're talking about the multiverse, talking about the timeline. Like you have the Zack Snyder timeline, you could have the main DCU time. Like so, you have this new branch that's we're going to see in the Flash and Backer and stuff like that. You also have the main DCU as well, where they could make a Superman theatrical movie, or Superman could exist in a different timeline, which is the Snyderverse. Like there's still so many options. It's not that deep.
Yeah,
they're movies. They can do anything that they want to do. They're bringing Michael Keaton back, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And Ben Affleck is in the movie. And if you look at some leaks and stuff got to do with the Ben Affleck role in the movie, it may not be as small as we once thought, or it may not be the end as Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck's definition of the end and retirement is
every movie is his end.
yeah. So yeah, So I'm intrigued by the Flash movie. Could be a lot of fun, could be interesting, but it doesn't mean anything bad for the Snyderverse or anything like that. But
I think people are just overreacting.
People need to get that out of their head because it doesn't mean there's not one direct route for all of this at all. And if anything has,
look at the X-Men movies, dude. Like, how many stuff did they retcon and still made awesome movies?
Look at the
doesn't
MCU
matter.
Now. They're bringing back Professor Xavier. They're bringing in.
Yeah.
This is already out there because they've released it in a trailer. But like Haley Atwell is coming from the What If, and she's a live action Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like the possibilities are endless. You have Sam Raimi talking about Spider-Man 4. Who would have thought that would have happened 5 years ago? Anything is possible.
Yeah. Speaking of Keaton, the last description line from this is Keaton's Batman says, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." In that scene at the end of the first teaser trailer, where Barry and Kara are standing and he asks, "You in?" After that, the scene continues and Michael Keaton's Batman is without the cowl but in the Batman suit. And he says, "Let's get nuts." So a lot of people are kind of upset with this. A lot of people think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. I don't know why you are shocked by this. Like, I don't know. Like it's almost like saying bring back Tobey Maguire, but don't let him say the responsibility line. Like what?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good nod in
his Batman is the only one that says the stupid line. I don't know how you can not use that.
Even Toby about his back in Spider-Man No Way Home. That was a nice little nod. Spider-Man 2, my back. My back.
Yep.
I think it's cool. Now this might be a line that doesn't actually make it into the movie. It could just be a marketing line, for the trailers and stuff like that.
True.
I could see them cutting it as well. But yeah, it is a good nod back to the first one. It's kind of don't want to get nuts. What some of the trailer descriptions as well said is that Keaton, when we first see him, has long white hair and a beard. So that's going to be interesting to see Keaton like that. Old man Batman.
Yeah.
That's what someone said in the description after seeing the trailer. So he obviously shaves and stuff. So he may have been retired as Batman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like we don't know who else exists in his
Alfred
universe.
is dead.
Alfred's obviously dead. But like we don't know because the timeline's a little bit messy because the Batgirl movie has made it a little bit messy as well because we never Commissioner Gordon was different there. So who knows? Maybe in Keaton's Batman world he had a Batman v Superman type thing.
Yep.
Christopher Reeve or something like that. Imagine that or could they bring in Brandon Routh or something like that, Like that could be I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. And Captendo Channel says Jeffrey Dean Morgan said that he was supposed to play Batman in this movie as planned, and he was discarded when Keaton stepped in. I'm not really into nostalgia, and I think this is a missed opportunity to bring back Keaton's Batman. He should have come back in a Batman Beyond live action. I agree with you. I would have definitely 100% preferred Jeffrey Dean Morgan's, Flashpoint Batman in this movie, but that is not what this movie is. And unfortunately, this movie is not exactly an adaptation of Flashpoint. It's just taking some aspects of Flashpoint and some aspects from different comics. So if it was 100% Flashpoint adaptation, I would have said that yes, that's definitely the wrong way to go. But since it's just a Flash movie, now completely into a multiverse, Batman included, and all that stuff movie, I don't think that is 100% important. And we still
Yeah,
don't know what they're doing with this Batman, so we'll have to wait and see.
and it doesn't mean that we don't get to see a Flashpoint in Flash 2. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah, that
Jeffrey Dean
Flashpoint's
Morgan,
adaptation could still happen.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan can be brought in at any stage. That would be cool, Easter egg for fans and stuff like that. Especially if this movie is a success, they want to
Yeah,
bring more multiverse stuff into it in the sequels. But in terms of the Jeffrey Dean Morgan, from a business point of view, when you have a universe that maybe hasn't been as successful as they may have wanted, and that's got to do with their own fault as well.
yeah,
But if this was a continuity of Zack Snyder's world and he was still a main producer and everything was supposed to be the way that it was, Jeffrey Dean Morgan probably would be the Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman. But
absolutely.
considering things have changed and shifted over time, the business decision to bring Michael Keaton back instead of Jeffrey Dean Morgan in as Thomas Wayne makes more sense
Yeah,
because box office in terms of Michael Keaton's back as Batman, it's a multiverse movie. No offense to Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but people would be like, why is he Batman? Or
yeah,
he's a big enough star, but he's not Michael Keaton was Batman 30 years ago, big enough star.
yeah.
And I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Walking Dead, stuff like that. I love him and
I still
Watchmen.
want that Batman, and I still want that Flashpoint
Yeah,
story. I hope we get that one day because look, in the DCEU, they have to build. They already built up with Zack Snyder's Justice League the Atlanteans and the Amazons. So that's also one big part. Like Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot and their tribes are gonna fight each other. There's gonna be a big war. Gal Gadot severs Mira's head. That's gonna be there. So stuff like that is awesome. Which I think if they do Flashpoint, they should bring all of that in because all of that is awesome. And if you don't bring all of that, then don't get even the Flashpoint Batman. Like because why bother just touching on it? I would much rather prefer a full on adaptation with the actors you already have. Because that's like an awesome story, and I want to see the entirety of it. I don't want just one thing out of it, added to this movie. So since this movie is just a Flash movie, not a Flashpoint movie, I feel like um, this version of the movie that we have is all right, and it will make for a pretty good movie. I'm actually really excited for this because not just because of Michael Keaton. I could care less about him, to be honest. He's not my Batman. But Ben Affleck's Batman, Supergirl, Zod, Fiora, revisiting Man of Steel, all of that, even Ezra Miller's Flash, all of that stuff is just made for me. Like I want to see more of that, so I'm excited for that one.
and if you want to look out there, there's little leaks about who's appearing in the movie as cameos. Um, there's Jeremy Irons is coming back, which is cool.
Hmm.
And there's other ones there. I won't spoil them people because the movie is going to have a lot of surprises,
Yes.
and some stuff has leaked which probably was supposed to leak at all. And I think a lot of people. I think I'm excited. Like I'm not. I'm excited with some of these cameos. I don't think you need. We're not talking about you need cameos for a movie to be successful and stuff like that. No, but it's a multiverse movie, and this is the direction they're going and stuff like this. But some of the cameos I heard about are pretty interesting and exciting, and I hope they're done in a respectful way. Because there's a lot of fans out there who do love certain interpretations of characters over others, and yeah, I think if I hope it's done in a respectful way. I think this movie could be fantastic. It could be great. It could be bad. We just don't know. Let's wait until the first proper trailer comes out. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. I am intrigued by it. I do like Michael Keaton's Batman a lot. I do like Batman Returns. It's one of my favorite Batman movies. And yeah, Ben Affleck's my favorite. He's going to be in the movie for a bit. Hopefully, maybe we just don't know what's going to happen in the future. Like we could We could get a Crisis movie. We could get a Justice League 2 with Zack Snyder. We could get a different Justice League movie. We could get Flashpoint, Flash movie 2 where Jeffrey Dean Morgan comes in for a quick cameo. Anything can happen. You just don't know. So I'm just gonna take the movies as they come and try and enjoy them.
Yeah. Hopefully, when they, set up the actual DCU with a proper head and all that, hopefully then we'll have much better, consistent, and better connected movies and better planned movies, which is the most important, than we have now.